So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then we'll take some from you all out there in the audience. First, talk to us about the kind of inspiration behind documenting this community. Why did you want to do it? How long ago did you start this long process?
First off, I want to give a shout out to some of the people who worked on the film who are here. Bernhard Fastenfist, our editor, could you stand when I shout you out, please? Stand up, Bernhard. He worked very hard to make this event possible. And also, I believe Nathan Proctor is somewhere in the audience. There's Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Long time no see. And finally, I've got Mr. James Newberry here, our composer. Thank you so much for your hard work on the film. Oh shit! And that's Ray Gross, the first DP of the film, right here in the front. Stand up, Ray. You know they can't see you sitting down, so you might as well stand up. So what inspired the film? I spent 10 years of my life homeless for being gay. At the age of 16, my mother kicked me out. And the first place that I went to, like I'm from New Jersey, I don't have a lot of money. So when you don't have a lot of money in Jersey, you get on the train and you go to New York and you go to look at stuff because it's free to like walk around and look at stuff. And when I was on the train, I saw these three black gay men having a very boisterous, loud, gay old time, and I was just like, wow, I didn't even know people could be that gay in public, let alone be okay being that gay in public. So I followed them to the pier, and when I got to the pier, for the first time in my life, I felt like I'd had a home, because I was finally in a place where I was understood and welcomed. And that feeling sustained me through 10 years of the most harrowing time of my life, where, you know, basic human resources were not guaranteed, and literally every minute of every day consumed with figuring out how to get to the next minute of every day. So, but through the grace of the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, I ended up going into the military at the age of 25, and it's there that my recruiter suggested I become a filmmaker. And I said, okay, that's better than being homeless. Black gay homeless, black gay filmmaker. I'll take that as titles. So I took it, and I ended up finishing that. I went to Columbia University, where I started this film in the summer of my freshman year in 2011. When I saw other students in undergrad, at the end of the school year, it's a big festive occasion. Parents show up, there's stuffed animals, there's pets, there's siblings, grandparents, all sorts of things, and none of that was happening for me. And I had to ask myself, what is home? And as I'm asking myself this question, I'm back on the pier, smoking a blunt, talking to my friends, and then it all kind of blossomed from there. So ultimately, the film began in 2011. Its world premiere is tonight, so that's 8 years. Comes directly out of my experience. I want to pay homage to my childhood, a thing that I didn't really have an opportunity to experience and savor, and this is a way to make that happen.
How did you come to settle on Crystal and Deshawn as like our two like main people that we're following in the story?
Well, with Crystal, she just talks. She talks a lot. You know what I mean? She talks a lot. So, you know, at a certain point, just kidding. I'm hoping someone recorded that so I can tag her in it. But no, Crystal asked me a question. Like at first, as you can see, there's many people that I filmed to create the interviews that make up this film. However, Crystal gave me a caveat that I found really transformative, not only for this movie, but for my journey as an artist ever since. She said it to me, and she said, if you want to make a story about my life, you have to be my friend. And it spoke to me on a lot of levels because, you know, one of the things about coming out particularly sometimes in the Black community and the religious Black community, it's a very lonely experience. And you're so busy partitioning your identity in all of these different ways for fear of rejection, that sometimes you don't even really know what it's like to be with people. You can be in a room full of people and feel like you're all by yourself. So when Crystal said, I want you to be my friend, that really spoke to me, just on a human level. Like, that's something that I crave and desire is friendship and, a cure for loneliness. So when she said that, that was great. And then on top of it, it kind of demanded a different approach to making the film. It demanded, what she wanted was a camera to be there with her and to listen to her when she wanted to say what her life was about. Because many of the opportunities that we take for granted to talk about what our life is, to take ownership of what our life is, we take those opportunities for granted, and for some people in our community, those opportunities are not really guaranteed. So, as a friend, I needed to be there whenever she called me, And then for Deshaun, he was the mayor of Christopher Street. He's, after a certain point, you realize that he is a leader, people follow him, and that's compelling. And I stuck with him, because as long as I kept the thing with Deshaun is, the way this film is made is very much in the spirit of the experience of being homeless as I remember it. Right? This film comes from that place, that memory place, where trauma and experience and imagination kind of converge to make something that hopefully is urgent, right? And with Deshaun, he had the ability to kind of walk me through what I remembered. Things that I could not necessarily just, by the time I started making this film, I was in my early 30s. So things that I could not easily recall from my teen life, Deshaun would just walk me into. And unfortunately, the transients, I was committed to transients, because Crystal said, be my friend, our friends are transients, so the camera has to be transient. I can't be with you 100 hours a day. I have to partition my life the same way she partitioned her life, and in those moments when we come together, I need to be present and hope that I grab something. And with Deshaun, he was in and out of jail throughout the production. So once he started getting arrested, it was like, okay, now I really have to stay there with him, because if I leave him in this moment, then all we'll know is that he's been arrested. We won't know that he's a leader. We won't know that he's someone that can speak to people's pain and heal people by doing that. So that's why I chose him.
One of the things that stuck with me the most is there's this perceived criminality and police presence throughout the entire film, and I'm just interested in hearing you talking about why you chose to include the different run-ins with police that we see in the film.
I think in this kind of moment that we're in with Me Too and Oscar's So White and Black Lives Matters and all of that there's a significant part of our society, a part of our nation that does not believe, does not want to imagine, and does not want to contend with the reality of what it is to be Black and poor in America. And that reality is one that is replete with constant policing. You were always on a stage. You were always with the spotlight drawn on you, especially when you dare to move in spaces that you were not welcome in. And these kids who are, we cannot forget the legacy of Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, right? People who, we clap for that. People literally spilled blood, got their heads beat open in order for Crystal, Deshaun, Casper, Anaya, and the whole community to be able to be in that space and be safe. And what happens? During the day, they are not welcome there because they don't have money to shop. How do they know they're not welcome? Through constant police presence. It's not even necessarily about the police beating you down. It's about the fact that any step you take is an event to them. It is worthy of surveillance. And as a result, you don't feel welcomed. And I tried really, really hard when I was an academic to try to find a way to explain this in writing. And I couldn't. So the only way for, at this time in my artistic development, when I made this film, the only way for me to show that was to actually show it, was to go and have the camera be a peer kid, have the audience be a peer kid, and have you realize, I don't know how many black folks in here, people of color in here, but whatever I'm doing, if I see a cop roll up, there's going to be a moment where I'm going to pan to wherever the cop is and make sure that dude is not messing with me. And if he is, I'm trying to go the other way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of informs the way that the camera language that makes the film.
Before I open it up to the audience, I want to ask a little bit more about Crystal's story in the film. I'm particularly interested in how it felt for you to be on the other side of the camera as her mom and her aunt are misgendering her, and how did it feel for you to be there and witness that as her friend and as the filmmaker?
It was, I was so grateful to her in that moment, because the first thing it did is that it caused an epiphany for me in terms of what the film is about, and that this film is an immersive experience about the conversations that to some degree I never got to have with my family. It just kind of all happened before anything could be confirmed, denied, explained, unpacked. I was out of my house, So in that moment, hearing her mother say this was just oh my God, I didn't realize until I heard her mother say how badly I wanted to hear all of the horrible reasons from my mom why all of that happened. There's so much power in knowing how people really feel about you. You know what I mean? There's real power in that. We live in a time where we're sometimes, it's like we put so much energy into scolding the other side, not to say things that offend us. But sometimes people speaking what they feel can let you know where they're coming from and let you know how to move around them. So on that level, I just wanted to it had to be heard, right? This thing that is being said around so many black households in America needs to be in the film and said in real time, with real people, with real beliefs, and real consequences, So that's the first part. And then the second part, it was horrifying. Here I am, this is my girl being disrespected. You know what I mean? And I'm in this place where these are black people, this is black family. You can't just go talking to elders any way you want to. Even if they're wrong. You know what I mean? So here I am in this situation of okay, how do I move this into a space where Crystal can maintain her authority over the authorship of her own life in this film, while at the same time giving a platform for conversations that need to happen in communities like those on screen. So my answer to that was to ask her, how does she feel about her spiritual identity and her spiritual destination? And when she answers, it's a relief to me, because at least in that moment, the conversation is now complete. Both sides have said their piece, and we can all think about what it means next.
All right, let's take some questions from you. Yes.
Thank you so much. Powerful and moving, not only a really important documentary film in this context, but as film and video as evidence. What an important film. Question, I guess, and I don't know if it's a part of this, but the first thing I think with a film this powerful is there a call to action or anything that we all can do in this room that we can share with others to try to help give voice not only to this community of people in New York, there's a history of it, but there are people all over the country, all over the world, right? What can we do, and how can we get involved?
Great question. Thanks for asking that. I think that we keep hearing this 50 years of Stonewall. And we have to think about what 50 years after 1969 means for us as a national community who's concerned with human rights and social justice and equality. We have to ask ourselves what work was not done, and what work was left unfinished, and why, right? And I'm just on a broad sense. Because what needs to happen is what many of the people who were assassinated, many of the people who were silenced, many of those who died of AIDS, right? Who were consumed by crack cocaine and ended up in the jails, right? Many of those radical smart, powerful people felt as if we needed to do something about land rights in this country, you know? And I personally believe that, especially in a city like New York, we have so many abandoned buildings that are being sold to the highest bidder, and a lot of city buildings being sold to the highest bidder, international bidders, you know, Chinese, Saudi Arabia, all that kind of stuff. I feel like whatever gay rights movement is left after gay marriage and after gays in the military must be concerned with the same vigor and urgency that we saw with the ACT UP movement. They must be concerned with addressing this strange scenario within which we are watching taxpayer property being sold to foreign interest without dealing with the problem of LGBT youth homelessness first. You know, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, it has to be personal. You know, we're all Americans. We're queer Americans. We're gay, lesbian, transgender, intersex, asexual, omnisexual, etc. You know, and we have to really, really get involved and be the change that we see. As queer people, we all experience some version of some level of what these kids will experience. Some of us have figured out how to succeed and be relevant economically in America in spite of and through our identities. And, you know, some of the gay men, gay white men in particular, are some of the most powerful people in this country. So I think that those individuals need to be at these nonprofits dealing with homeless youth, sharing their knowledge in a mentorship way that is not predicated on sexual consumption, but more so interested in the, you know, what parents are not doing for our queer kids, which is raising them to be functioning good citizens without, and not only good in a pejorative sense, I mean good in the sense of like the democratic sense, people who get to maintain the right to vote for their whole lives. You know what I mean? Those individuals who know better need to go make sure that they are connected and do better and make themselves available and figure out what they can let go of to make themselves available for that. You know? That's my answer.
When you're out on the piers, most of that footage, what did you shoot on, and what was
everything?
What was their point of view of the camera?
Okay. Well, I shot on everything that I could get my hands on. I had moments where I had equipment stolen, like thousands of dollars of equipment was stolen in the middle of everything. And I had like hundreds of dollars in my bank account, and I had to figure out how to make it work. So in that regard, there's, you know, pretty much the film cinematography jumps up a level when I'm in my first year at Tisch, which is, I guess the second year at Tisch, which is the 2016 footage. There I used, you know, that one. But everything else is SLRs, which you would imagine. Yeah. And then in terms of, what was your second question? I'm sorry.
What was their perspective of having the camera?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that it's at a time of night in a location where there's, you know, varying degrees of crimes being committed in the shadows, right? Like in the sense of the state's view of it, right? So nobody wants a big spotlight and ugly money, you know, in their little come up, whatever hustle they're doing. So it took some time to figure out a style of shooting that would allow me to kind of embed myself without exposing them to even more, you know, police surveillance. And then, you know, these are all like millennials and Zers, and they all believe they should be famous, and they all think they're the most beautiful thing that's ever been made. So, you know, there's a huge population of them who would come out, and they would, you know, like I thought idea of like poverty porn or whatever, you know, like I'm thinking, before I made this one, I used to have these like super opinionated points of view, and I still have them. However, you know, I remember one time I was walking on the pier, and this one kid was like really wanted me to film him sucking his own dick. And I was like, dude, I don't want to film you. I don't know how old you are, like how much time you know, like, and he literally was just following me down the street doing it. And wanting me to turn my camera to him to do it, and of course I did it. any charges. So, you know, so you know, it was kind of, people thought I was a lot of hip hop, people thought I was involved in throwbacks, people thought everything. Is this Real Housewives, you know? Yeah. That answers your question.
That's all we have time for. Can we get one more round of applause?